Music is representative of a film's theme and, at its deepest core, is the essence. That's why a score and the composer behind it is so crucial. With a wave of their baton, a composer is conducting both the orchestra and the audience, guiding and evoking their emotions. Composers use music as a universal language to convey tension, love, or awe, making the story being told on a lifeless screen come alive.
Life, finds a way.
In all of cinematic history, there is no one more capable or famed for striking moviegoers with such powerful scores than John Williams. John Williams was born and raised in New York in 1932 and eventually moved to Los Angeles with his family in 1948. In LA, he studied composition with Mario Castelnuovo Tedesco, regarded as one of the greatest guitar composers of the 20th century. After a few years serving in the US Air Force, Williams returned to New York and attended the Juilliard School. He studied piano under Madame Rosina Levine, a mentor of some of the best pianists of the mid-20th century. During his time in New York, Williams also recorded as a jazz pianist in clubs and assisted with recordings. Finally, Williams moved back to Los Angeles and began scoring for film and television. I guarantee that Williams has composed the score for at least one movie in your top 10 favorites. We have him to thank for the iconic music behind Jaws, Star Wars, Superman, E.T., Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, and so many more. And you may notice that many of Williams' most notable scores are for Steven Spielberg films. Spielberg approached Williams in 1974 after hearing the score for The Reavers. He says, "When I heard The Reavers, I said, my God, this guy must be 80 years old. I thought, here's some guy who is 80 years old who maybe wrote his greatest scores of his life. And I went to find who he was, and I met this young guy named John Williams, and I was amazed." The movie was made in 1969, meaning Williams was only 37 at the time. Spielberg then asked Williams to compose the score for his directorial debut called The Sugarland Express, launching a partnership that has lasted over 40 years. After The Sugarland Express, the next project Spielberg and Williams worked on together was Jaws. Williams says that when he first played the shark's theme for Spielberg, the director thought he was kidding and laughed. But Spielberg couldn't have been more far off. This theme is one of the most daunting and terrifying pieces of music created for the screen. Those two notes have become practically synonymous with sharks and are ingrained in our cultural conscience as the approach of danger. The best way to understand how impactful Williams' score is for the film is by watching a scene without the music.
Come on, Hooper, come on, hurry up, tie it on!
Now.
Without the music, the film is just not as scary. You don't feel the urge to yell at the screen, "Get out of the water."
Come on, Hooper, come on, hurry up, tie it on!
Now.
Jaws' theme is also incredibly important to the audience as it lets us know what's happening. Upon first hearing the notes, we know the shark is near. And when we hear those notes speed up, we know the shark is getting closer and closer. But despite the seeming simplicity of the music, it is actually much more complex. Hans Zimmer, one of the greatest film composers of all time, says this about the score. Everybody goes, Jaws is just these two notes. It's not. There's this amazing orchestral symphonic piece that takes place, and it's just being triggered by these two notes. Hans is correct in the fact that the score for Jaws is a great orchestral piece. However, this was not something that was very common in the 1970s, making Williams' arrangement even more impressive. Another fantastic example, and arguably one of the best, that shows Williams' use of an orchestral score is that of Star Wars. The score is often credited with helping audiences rediscover the classical orchestral film score. George Lucas tasked Williams with an incredible feat, creating a score that matched the epicness of the plot. Williams definitely delivered as he composed the most memorable theme songs in cinematic history. The most recognizable theme in the Star Wars saga is the main title, which is the intro song. When that first note erupts and the Star Wars logo hits the screen, you literally feel like you've been blasted into space, into a galaxy far, far away. It's that forceful.
Use the Force, Luke.
Without this song playing as you read the opening crawl, you would not feel as immersed into this sci-fi world or be prepared for the adventure that is about to take place. Without the main title song, there's no excitement or wonderment. These emotions are necessary to invoke in the audience, making the inclusion of this song integral. Another favorite theme from Star Wars is the Imperial March, or Darth Vader's theme. It is hard to imagine seeing Darth Vader walking around the Death Star without this song playing in the background. The song demands attention and obedience, just like Darth Vader himself. Another orchestral piece from Williams, this iconic theme song is perfectly fit for an iconic villain. You may notice that many of the songs in Williams' scores are called themes. This is because Williams was working with a technique called leitmotif, inspired by 19th century opera composer Richard Wagner. A leitmotif, or leading motif, is a musical theme that is used to identify characters and dramatic events. Although the leitmotif has been used in motion pictures before Williams started getting praise for it, many describe their use as overbearing or unnecessary. This is far from how you would describe Williams's leitmotifs. But not only did Williams employ the leitmotif and popularize it throughout the 1970s, he also changed its function. Typically, a leitmotif would start playing when a character or situation appears on screen. However, Williams would start playing a character's theme when they weren't yet on screen. Let's go back to Jaws and his theme. We hear the music start when we only see children playing in the water or a boat out on the ocean. However, due to the music, we know the shark is there. Not only did this use of leitmotif help build the suspense, but it was actually necessary to the production of the film. The robotic shark Steven Spielberg was using was constantly malfunctioning, forcing him to find creative ways to represent its presence. Additionally, if you look at the shark for too long, if you actually see its face and body, it is clearly fake. Therefore, it was a genius move to use the music to indicate that the shark was near. As audiences, we owe a great debt to John Williams for giving us the music that has affected our society on such a large and impressive scale. His influence on other film composers is also incredibly important, as it ensures the continuation of such amazing film scores for generations. Hans Zimmer says that, "It was John Williams that made me realize that film music can be of a quality and distinction that is as great as any of the classical composers that I grew up with." Overall, Williams' ability to define a character through sound is unbeatable. Jaws wouldn't be as terrifying, Indiana Jones wouldn't be as adventurous, and Superman wouldn't be as heroic if it weren't for the musical themes Williams created for each.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me! Who's got you?
I think the end of Steven Spielberg's speech to Williams as he presented him with the AFI Life Achievement Award is a perfect way to sum up his importance and profound impact.
John, you breathe belief into every film we have made. You take our movies, many of them about our most impossible dreams, and through your musical genius, you make them real and everlasting for billions and billions of people. So it is my honor to be up here tonight to say to you, my lifelong friend and my colleague, congratulations.
Thanks so much for watching, and special thanks to contributing author Leah Robbins. Be sure to check out some of our other videos on music, such as Why Did Freddie Mercury Write Bohemian Rhapsody?, the story behind Toto's Africa, and if you're a Beatles fan, well, let's just say this is your channel. Thanks to the amazing patrons who keep this channel alive, and if you're into super underground music, then definitely check out the HollyHobs on Spotify, Apple Music, and everywhere music is streamed. If you want to be notified when new videos are out, at this point you'll have to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and pray that YouTube will recommend anything you actually might want to see. If you have an idea for a video, please be sure to leave a comment. See you next time.